The MMA Fancast. My name's Luke Payson. Welcome back to everyone who's already a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews like the one coming at you right now with the former 247 Fighting Championship amateur featherweight champ and the now 1-0 pro fighter, Lucas, the sniper, Seibert. Lucas, welcome back to the show.
Yep, thanks for having me on, brother. Appreciate it.
Always great chatting with you. You've had a very busy, exciting week. We're 6 days removed, almost a week removed from Brawl in the Burgh 20 for 247 Fighting Championships. You were the co-main event with your pro debut versus Jake Zach. You got the stoppage. We'll have you kind of walk through the stoppage from your perspective in the second round. So huge congratulations. You're now 1-0 as a pro. Coming to this fight, you basically said exactly what you were expecting of yourself. You always set your expectations based on what you know you can do, and then you go out there and do it. So how did this fall in line with what you were thinking coming into the fight?
I mean, honestly, it happened almost to a T, how we expected and kind of predicted, even to like the finish. So as far as, just, expectations, I guess we killed it. It went just about like everything. Everything went smooth. Everything went perfect. Fight went how I thought it was going to. All the adversity that like we went through was expected. I didn't think it was going to be a cakewalk, and it wasn't. And then I did think I was going to get a finish. And we ended up getting the finish. So,
And talk about, for the first time, the 5-minute rounds, which of course you didn't go a whole 15 minutes because you finished the second round. Talk about the 5-minute rounds and then the elbows and the knees. You ended up using the pro rules very effectively. You've been telling me on MMA Fancast for a while that you've been training at the higher level with the pros. Would you used an elbow off the cage in defense when he was kind of pressing you up against the cage because of your longer reach, a nice elbow. Then of course the knee, the jumping knee or the flying knee set up the finish. So talk about kind of the pro level rules and how well you felt like you did using them in your fight.
I mean, I think I did really. I think that's the biggest takeaway from the fight. Is that I mean, I was ready to go pro. Obviously, like I won, but like that I utilized the rules to my advantage. I knew cardio wouldn't be an issue. I thought that was like beneficial to me. I think all the fights that I had in my amateur career, if they were longer, I would have finished them. But as far as the rules, like I think way more, way better set up for me. Like my kicks are more dangerous when I can go to the head. My elbows or my ground and pound's more dangerous when I can elbow. It's harder to shoot on me if I can you. It's more beneficial towards me, and I was very much looking forward to the pro rule set. And I'm not surprised it went how it went.
Yeah, and I think every fighter that turns pro needs to find a way to use the pro rule set to their advantage, whether it's the length or a certain, you were mentioning elbows on the ground, or like Johnny Bones Jones found out a way to throw elbows almost like a cross, like a punch. You mix it in. But to your point, I think your style, your frame, your technique. You already had the nickname Sniper in your amateur debut because I had the honor of calling it, and you won that by a really nice cross walk-off finish, kind of one-strike punch. You've always had good striking, but pro striking is where you can really develop your skills. What was, I guess we'll ask kind of, because you've walked through the fight pretty quickly and it was a great fight. Thanks for recapping it. What was the atmosphere like? The standing room only crowd, lots of eyeballs on you. You had talked to myself and Ryan Kavanaugh before the fight for us to know what to say about you and stuff. And you had said, which I think was spot on, that you consider yourself like the Pittsburgh pro fighter. There's other fighters out there, but for you, you're like the main Pittsburgh pro fighter. How did that feel, fighting a local fight in the Pittsburgh area as sort of the main, in your eyes, the main Pittsburgh fighter?
Yeah. So I think You know, one, I cannot thank the gym enough. Um, all the support I got. I sold over 100 tickets to that fight. I am not from Pittsburgh,
No.
right? So I'm not getting uh the backing of the people I went to high school with, the all that. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I sold to my family, and I sold to my family at Stout. I sold to people that see me every day. I sold to um you know the people I coach, the parents of the kids I coach, my customers at Clean Eats. I uh I went above and beyond when it came to selling tickets, and I think I put my name out there more than I even thought I did in the city of Pittsburgh, which I think is a really cool thing. Um, I want to be considered Pittsburgh's like next big fighter. I think that's something I said in the
Mhm.
post fight interview, and that's something that like I really value. Just because Pittsburgh's had a lot of great fighters, and I think that's potential I see in myself as being able to represent the city. I as far as the atmosphere of that venue and that crowd was amazing.
Mhm.
Um, it was cool because it was like kind of like everybody's on one side.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
Mm.
like like a stage, like a performance,
Mhm.
right? Think of like you go and watch a play or something, like everybody's on one
It
side.
was
So
like that. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. And it was cool, especially when I finished the fight, right?
Mhm.
So, because in my head, I was like, all right, I'm gonna eyeball where everybody's at. I'm gonna jump on that side of the cage, right? Because I've never done that, right? There's
Yeah.
certain things I wanted to save for my professional debut, and that's specifically one of them. I wanted to wait to jump on the cage. I know it's illegal to jump on the cage, but that was something I like. I was like, all right, that's when I'm gonna do it. I just got to figure out where my family's gonna be, right? I finished the fight, like I finished Jake, with the ground and pound, finish the punches, elbows, stand up, turn around, and boom, my entire family, all my crowd, they had their section was literally right in front of me. Climbed up on the cage, got to do all the stuff like that, and I I wanted to do the like shirt thing. I wanted Mike to toss me the shirt, and Chip's like telling me to get off the cage. Mike tosses me the shirt and it's inside out, and I was like, bro,
Oh, so
like,
you
bro,
pulled it off. Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't. Like, I would have been able to do it, but Chip was on my ass quick. But it was so surreal. You visualize it for months. Visualize it for. I mean, I hadn't fought since July. Visualize it for 6 months, just like what it's gonna be like, the atmosphere, all that stuff. And then when it comes to fruition, it's like it's like manifesting. You manifest something like that, and it really makes you just like how much more, how much further can I go? How how like how can I imagine even the exact finish, the exact celebration? Like how much further can I go with this? And that's something that just like really like gets me excited.
Mhm.
um Obviously you got to work. One thing is about me is like I work my ass off. I think that's something that's probably a little bit overlooked about me. Everybody works hard, but I've worked hard my whole life. So going out and performing is what matters. You can go out, you can be the Instagram guy, you can post all this, do all that, have all the fun, do everything. If I go out and I don't have the performances I'm having, if I don't go out and I don't finish people, if I don't do it in exciting ways, if I'm not doing what I'm doing, if I'm not winning, it doesn't matter. It all ends. And it's not like I have to be undefeated, but if you're not winning, it doesn't matter. And that's one thing I've done the whole time is I've won.
Yeah, that's a great perspective to have. Talk about the fact that when you graduated from WU, you started training. You took your debut fight for 247 within 3 months of training. I think that's the time frame. And you came on the show here, and from the very day one, you already had a plan, how long it would take. You were wanting to go pro at a certain time, and all of that. So So what's it like now? And of course, I'm sure you have future plans, which we'll ask about here in a second. What's it like now in your mind, rewinding to before you started training MMA? You were a wrestler at WU. You came up with a game plan. You put very bold and aggressive uh, goals for yourself. And what's it been like fulfilling those goals in the last? It's still basically this spring will be 2 years since when you graduated WU. So you're still within 2 years, and you had a 5-fight amateur career, a couple other fights that aren't MMA, or other matches that weren't MMA, of course, that were a big deal that you trained for, like the Sprawl and the Burgh and those type of things. And then obviously now your pro debut. So talk about kind of where you are compared to where you thought you were going to be. And then of course, give some of your future plan predictions as far as your turnaround, when you're next be fighting, those type things for yourself for 2024.
I'm like I put when I was talking about it, like when I graduated college, I said I wanted to make my pro debut before I turned 24. My 24th birthday is next Saturday.
I knew you had a date. There it is. You made it in 2 weeks. 2 weeks to spare.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just another thing where you speak it into existence, and it then you look at it when it happens. You're like, damn, I was right. There's been a lot of that. I mean, I talk sometimes, and maybe like the back of my head doesn't believe it. But I just, I try to stay positive. I try to have positive affirmations, give myself what I need, where I'm lacking, when it comes to positivity. Surround myself with the right people, stay on the right track, do the right things, and things just keep happening the way that they're supposed to, the way that I visualize, and I'm gonna keep it going. If I'm surprised now, I can't imagine how surprised I'm gonna be in 2 years, right? Everything just stays on track. I mean, I'm not scared to say anything at this point. I think I think my potential. I think sky's the limit. I think I can do anything I really want to in the sport, and in reality, I think it's up to me, just putting the time in and putting the effort in, staying on track, doing the right things.
And when you fast forward in your mind 2 years out, which you've already shown what 2 years you can do with 2 years, a little under 2 years, for when you turned 22, you hadn't graduated from college yet, so about year and 8 months. What is the sky is the limit in 2 years? Do you have sort of a high water mark that you want to hit in 2 years, or kind of what are you looking at like that?
2 years. So like one thing is, like, I don't need to rush, right?
Right.
I'm turning 24. Uh, that I'm super young, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind, is like there's no rush. I wanna get 3 fights in this year. I got one in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm eyeballing like early summer, and then late fall, winter, to fight. And ideally I'm 3-0
Mm-hmm.
at 2025. um I don't really look too far ahead. I look about 6 months at a time. Six
Okay.
months from now, I'll be fighting for my second pro fight. I'll go ahead, train as hard as I can for that, win that fight, and keep it going. If I just keep doing what I've been doing, I think 2 years from now I'll be looking at a possible contender series,
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. I'm aiming for the UFC. I've said it since I got here. There was UFC Fight Pass articles written about me when I was
Mm-hmm.
had thrown a punch yet. I don't think there's any doubt that my potential is the UFC. It's high level in the UFC, and I think in 2 years, 2.5, maybe three, depending on a couple things, I think I'll be in the UFC.
That's a great mindset that you have, and I like how you have the future, 2.5, 3 years in the future. But like you said, it's really about doing what you need to do between now and your next fight, and then that fight, the next fight, and then that fight, next fight. That's one of the things that you've always shown. when you came on this show and talk about your debut, you had put a lot in to get to that point, and then your next fight, and having followed your fight career, that term leveling up has happened every fight. And I know Justin the General Patton has said that he always sees himself in his career. He wants to make sure every fight that he would have beaten himself in the previous fight. There's no doubt you're right in that camp where your growth is such that any fighter, Lucas Seibert, before February 24th, you would have beaten. Even the fighter that beat Cam Allgaier, the fighter, any of those previous versions of yourself, you would have beaten. That's what's beautiful to see. We know now that the Dana White Contender Series and whatever else might happen is really kind of for people that are right around that 6 or 7 fights, 5-0, 6-1, 6-0, 7-2, somewhere around that range where you could very well be into 2.5 years if you're fighting three times a year. It depends on, what happens and some of those things, but certainly seems very much in line with what you're doing. I really appreciate you coming on. I know Luke Martin, your teammate and friend from WU, and then also somebody you kind of recruited up to Stout, is going to be fighting here. I think, is it 2 weeks or this week? It's coming up.
He fights on my birthday. He fights March 9th. Anthony Hogeback also fights that day. Following weekend, we have some people fighting in Morgantown. My best friend, my best friend, fighting out of Immortal Martial Arts, Cam Jenkins, is going to be making his amateur debut. The following week, Brittany Bickhart's going to be making her professional debut, long-awaited professional debut out in the Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Scranton, Eastern. Yeah, I just texted her today about for those excited about Sunshine. I already did an interview with her, which was in November, which was supposed to be before her pro fight. So go watch that one again because it's her talking about her pro fight. But she said so many pro fights, her debut scheduled so many different times. It's really exciting that she's under a month away. I mean, that's just super, super exciting. And the Luke Martin fighting again, that was a fight that was his debut was supposed to happen for 247, fell apart literally the day before or day of. Really, but he's been great since, and it's really cool to see. We've talked a lot about Stout and kind of what the production is. I got to see Hound Dog Anthony Hogeback at your fight. Didn't get to see Luke Martin, but it's always great seeing the Stout family, like you said. And somebody mistook me, Edwin Vera's sister, Matt Factory, unrelated to Stout, but Edwin Vera's sister mistook me for Chris Dempsey, which to me was a huge compliment. So, but yeah, those, you're laughing, but it's a compliment to me. So probably an insult to him, but compliment to me. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, Matt Factory. I mean, we're super close to Matt Factory.
I figured, the Pittsburgh, you've always said that Pittsburgh mindset, Pittsburgh against the world as far as the Matt Factory, you guys, the Academy, some of those. And I think, isn't Ethan the Wolverine Goss champ, as we call him, doesn't he come out with you guys on a fairly regular basis?
I've only sparred with him one time.
Okay.
He only came to Stout one time. I know he cross trains in the Pittsburgh area. Obviously, he's far out, but I all respect to Goss. Super good guy.
Yeah, all those guys are great. Hats off to everybody that's got fights coming up. I really appreciate you coming on, champ. Thanks so much for taking time. Enjoy a happy early 24th birthday to you, 8 days out. Enjoy watching Luke Martin get a win on your birthday. What a great way to celebrate your birthday. So congratulations again. Everybody needs to download and get the 247 live app so you can watch not only the most recent, get the subscription, not only watch the most recent fight for Sniper making his pro debut, but also you can watch all the fights he's had for 247. Thanks so much. Luke Pace with MMA Fancast and the Sniper, Lucas Seibert. Thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
You got it.